recorded live from Studio 12A in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. You're listening to the Josh and Friends Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the Josh and Friends Podcast. I am your host. My name is Josh. And this week, I'm bringing back another college buddy to the show. I first met this guy at Central Washington University, home of the Wildcats in Ellensburg. And it was during a college course in communications that we first struck up a conversation. And I learned that he grew up on a farm, was a huge Seahawks fan, and later discovered that this guy had a cannon for an arm. That ain't no joke. But I'm proud to say that he is here today to discuss all of this and much more, including a round of random questions that should be a blast. So without further ado, help me welcome to the show the former Ephrata Tiger, the Central Wildcat, and the current 12. He's my buddy, the one and only, Mr. Mike Barbre. Woo! Yes! Mike! Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Life is good. Despite
awesome,
the world pandemic and monkeypox apparently now.
Yeah, right. Well, monkeypox, that's just starting, right?
Monkeypox had to show up. Join the party.
Yep. Monkeypox was like, you know what? I'm over here, guys. It's
I've been
time
out
for me
for a while, hadn't been out, so I'm gonna make my way in again. See what's up with the world.
Right. Yeah. So, Mike, you're calling in from where are you? You're in Seattle?
From Alki Beach in Seattle.
Nice. Now, you've lived out there for quite a while now, huh?
It surprises even me.
How long have you lived there?
At this point, I got to Alki right after I last saw you. No, that's not true. After I got out of college, after we graduated, June 12th, 99, spent the summer in Ellensburg, working, and then September 1st, 1999. I stayed with my brother in Wallingford, up there north downtown Seattle. And a week later, I saw this ad in the Seattle Times. That's when we used to, look for places in the newspaper. Remember those? And,
vaguely.
It said, this address, Alki Beach. And I go, I feel like I've heard Alki before. And as soon as I turn that corner from on Barbre Avenue, I just go, I don't care what my apartment looks like. This is it. So,
it's an awesome area.
I said that because that apartment was a heap. The mini fridge didn't even have shelves on it. So that's it. 23 years later, here I am.
Wow. That's a nice place to be.
Man, I tell you what, I love it. All seasons. There's not one season I don't like it. But, come the end of summer, after all the crowds and the beachgoers and the partiers, they tend to slough off in the fall and winter. I'm kind of glad to have my beach back.
So do they still have that spuds or?
Yeah, they do. It's actually right at the end of my block.
Oh, is it really? That's awesome.
I'm halfway down the side street from Spuds.
Nice. So I'm halfway thinking I'm going to be visiting that place with all the other tourists.
You've been due up here for many a moon.
I know, dude. It's been a long time, dude. It's been a long time. So, all right. So we first met in college.
We met in comms class, right?
I don't even know when it was. It was in a class?
Yeah. I think we met in communications. And to this day, I still remember that one-on-one we had. Do you remember that in the tiny room?
Which communications class is this? Is this a PR class or something? Or
I should have graduated in PR and I didn't know. It was based in breadth. It was early on, sophomore year or something.
Gotcha. Okay.
We had some interaction. It might have been job interview test or something that we were supposed to give each other. and that's when I think I first really had that one-on-one. So I
okay.
impression,
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I just remember playing catch with you at the Samuelson. Is it Samuelson? What it was called? The
Nicholson Pavilion.
Nicholson. Yeah. What am I thinking? I'm thinking of the sub. Yeah. Not the sub.
Well, we just commented on that a couple days ago.
Right.
I commented on your post.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yes.
And I commented something, and then I saw the timestamp on the Facebook post. I go, oh, that was 2016.
It just brings it back to life, just like Frankenstein.
That hurt, man. I swear I had seen that video of that, the demolishing of the sub before. Oh, yeah. It had been years ago, and I see it again. I think Lee posted it, and it was heartbreaking all over again. There are a lot of hours spent in that sub.
Yeah.
So, you obviously did a new one.
Oh, that thing's ridiculous. That thing's just completely ridiculous.
I would have gained so much weight in that new because number one, I lived I had my freshman year in Wilson. Yeah. And Wilson's right next door to all that junk food on junk food in that building. So,
yeah, it'd be dangerous over there. Yeah, they have it's like you're going to a mall, right? Like an old school mall.
It is like a food court, and then you got the movie theater, or I don't know. It's a what do you call it? Just kind of a arena seating almost, right? It's not a movie. It's a stage with. It's like you're at an airport, like a really nice airport. Yeah. I'm like, what is this? Wow, with the gym,
crazy.
With the gym, no.
Right. Now, I remember throwing the ball around with you, and what I remember about that, by the way, is you had a gun on you, man. Did you play high school football, or
you weren't devoid of one either? But thank you. I should have played quarterback. I should have. I did. My hero, as my childhood hero, as you know, was Kurt Warner. He was a running back, and I even wore number 28 all through high school. So I love being a running back, but if I had to do it all over again, I played quarterback.
I'm right there with you, man. I think my head wasn't in it though. Like I just even our quarterback back in the day was like. He was like the best all-around athlete, one of the best all-around athletes on the team. And he was like, you should be the quarterback because I want to be out there like hitting people and being wide receiver. And I'm like, dude, you told me this after we graduate. Yeah. So
he wasn't going to tell you before. You would have done it. You'd have lost his job.
Right. Yeah. So now, Mike, so you grew up in a very small town in Eastern Washington.
Yeah. Central Washington. If you know where Moses Lake is, Ephrata is 20 miles northwest of Moses Lake. So that's central Washington. To everyone over here, you call that Eastern Washington.
Yeah, if you cross the mountains, you're in Eastern Washington.
Yeah, it's like everything east of Ritzville, all the way to Spokane and the border is Eastern Washington. Then we have our little cove of, say, Ritzville to the mountains. Cascades, that's Central Washington to us.
Yeah.
And then everything else is Western Washington. But remember, you have perspective. Like, let's say someone who lives out in Forks.
Right.
Or Westport, anywhere along the coast. They think, oh, it's Western Washington all the way through, and everything else is Eastern Washington, east of the mountains. So it's all a matter of perspective.
People that aren't from here, from the area, they're like, Forks is like way up on the peninsula. It's like, where all the vampires, like to go.
Everything now, anything having to do with peninsula is automatically that vampire. The vampire movie.
Twilight.
But my aunt, who I grew up with on the farm, or my aunt who lived with my uncle and cousins, everybody over there, growing up, a lot of people called Seattle, anywhere near Seattle, the coast. And that's not an unfamiliar term. You've heard that before. Probably going to Central. Anything east of the Cascades is the coast.
You're kind of on the coast at Alki, right there on the mini coast of the Alki Beach and the Puget Sound, right there.
Well, no, she meant like, let's say that you went over the mountain, so far past. and hit the ground. Like you came down off the mountain, right into Redmond, Bellevue, whatever. Yeah. Oh, that's the coast, apparently.
So Ephrata, just to give people an idea of where that is, it's kind of like what? So you're kind of close to the Columbia River-ish area.
Oh well, I think this narrows it down. If you've been to the Gorge Amphitheater,
absolutely, I've been there many times. So, yes.
You take that Ephrata Soap Lake exit off of I-90 going north, directly north, and you'll hit Ephrata first. 20 miles later, and then you'll hit Soap Lake. And then the second feature that we're really known for is the Sun Lakes chain of lakes.
Yeah. Right.
So a lot of people go up to Sun Lake State Park at the northern lake.
Of that place.
Out there. And that's, I love it every time. We, our set of friends, our whole community, anyone who ever grew up in that in North Central Washington area knows about the cliff jumping, the glorious cliff jumping that goes on those Sun Lakes, especially Blue Lake. Blue Lake has a nice range of platforms you can jump off of. And
did you jump off of
the best times of my life going up there? Yeah, we had a couple buddies who had camping lots along those lakes. We had Deep Lake, Blue Lake. And all those, we had friends who had family houses on those. We just boat on over, climb up the rocks, and jump off all day long.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, it's
doing stupid stuff when back in the
really dumb stuff. There were a lot of cliffs that my friends shouldn't have been jumping off of because if they didn't hit the right spot below, they could hit rocks. And you're nuts.
Yeah, I experienced some of that too. Yeah, I had a guy that we had this footbridge right next to our house, and we knew because I swam in it every day that there's only a very small area that you can like jump off of. One dude dove off the middle, which is right up to our waist, and I think my mom actually had to drive. Like we were just walking to the park. This guy's like, I think I need to go to the hospital. Just blood just going all over. I'm like, I wonder if that guy made it because we drove him to the hospital. You don't die off that. You don't even want to jump off that part, and he dove off of it. Yeah. So
where was this?
Oh, this is in Auburn. Yeah. So there's a little footbridge kind of like across the street from our house, and I just would walk over to the river like every day, and so I knew that river probably better than anybody. I'm safely saying that I knew that river better than anybody because even with the people that went over there like a lot, they didn't go down there with mask every day like I did. I knew every part of every like snag and every part of that river like the back of my hand. So it was
right.
It was a learning experience, and I definitely did some adventuring.
You knew the details and the consequences of every square foot of that area.
Yeah, so much so that there would be like a big snag in the river, like these snags where like, fishing lures would be like hanging off of it. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be anywhere near that. You want to get caught up in that stuff? No. So that's gross. Yeah, you don't want to be.
That reminds me that you brought up a good point of knowing where you're having your fun, because Ephrata is in it's in the flat part of Washington State. The really, really flat part of Central Washington, where the Grand Coulee Dam actually contributes a lot of the irrigation that goes on in the Columbia Plateau, as they call it. So actually, two lawyers. Have you ever been to the Grand Coulee Dam?
I'm not sure if I have.
North Central Washington. It's the largest concrete dam on the planet. At least when I was a kid. And
maybe we need to go there now.
Two lawyers from Ephrata actually got it built. So that's another thing that my hometown did. Two lawyers from Ephrata, Washington got the dam built. And so it's the Columbia Basin Irrigation Project that changed the entire landscape of Central Washington State back in the 30s. That was part of Roosevelt's the New Deal.
New Deal, yeah. Wow, so that's interesting.
Part of the federal New Deal plan that transformed, because you never heard about agriculture like you do now in Central Washington. Now we contribute any number of kinds of agricultural products, including wheat.
So is that what your family did? You did your family do wheat?
My family, all the way going back to my dad's dad, in 1946, they moved out, and my grandfather bought the plot of land and started a wheat farm out in the more hilly part of Central Washington. Now we're a little up from the Columbia Plateau, but yeah, we started wheat. But down on the Columbia Plateau, that's where all the agriculture, the evolution of agriculture in Washington State came from. So there's a lot of wheat around where I am in what I call the Columbia Highlands. Then you're going east a little bit near Ephrata, and that's where the Columbia Basin Highlands are, or Columbia Basin flatlands are, where all the agriculture is now. And then you go further down in southeastern Washington, and that's where everybody knows the Palouse is, Washington State, and all the wheat down there. So that's where the wheat industry in Washington State resides. We got off track though.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I don't usually hear people talk about farming, so I actually am curious about that. Now, you did not go into farming like your grandfather and I'm guessing your other relatives.
So far. Not
so far. There's still time.
We're running out of time.
Oh God. Are they still holding out hope for you?
Slim to none.
Okay. So what did you end up going to school for? Like, what was your original idea?
I didn't see anything outside of some mistake to go into business, but I knew pretty much when I went to college I was going to do communications. And then there was some basic and breadth class you and I took somewhere, and I just go, I don't know, man, this might be a mistake. So that sophomore year set me back a little bit by order, but I also felt I needed it to make selective decisions about what I wanted to major in. So I took a class in recreation.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, other than a pretty girl in my class, I got nothing out of that quarter.
Hey, pretty girls go a long way.
She was something else. Very cool, very pretty.
What's her name?
How many years ago was that?
I don't know.
That was 95, 96. That was 95, 96. And then I went over to business and I took a marketing 360 class. Ironically enough, because I'm in digital marketing now, but I did terribly in that class. I don't understand what that was about, but ended up where it ended up. I ended up where I ended up. So I made a couple rounds, and I got back to bullion, and I knew that's the clarity that gave me. I think that's a big lesson for anyone who's searching for something or searching for direction. Is college gives you that opportunity to do little touches here and there. I don't have to make that decision now. I can take a quarter or two or a semester or two and play around. And then once my junior year came along, that was, it gave me the opportunity to explore. And that's the really frustrating part about this anti-college, anti-intellectual era that we're going through right now is, with the internet, look, man, I am living proof that working remote or working from home is an option, but it doesn't mean that college is that for those who want to go into a career that require, post high school education, you need it. It is necessary.
I love college, man. College was amazing.
And you're right. It gives you that extra social thing that makes the difference in a business environment. Depending on what the business is. So I'm all about, coming out of high school and doing what you want to do right out of the gate. But college still has a place.
Yeah.
In finding your way.
Yeah. When you brought up how it gave you that little play, it's exactly kind of like how I felt towards the end of me graduating. I was like, all right, now I'm going into video, but I'm really into radio. Like video's my major. I'm, video communication studies, but so I chose to do an internship at both. And then I decided I pretty much hated video. I mean, I liked the idea of the stuff that went into video, but my training at Central was all defunct by that time, and it was just it was a little analog. And then it was like, do you have digital video experience? I'm like, well, as a matter of fact, I don't. so then in radio, I'd go there and I'd be like I'd be doing beer runs for the DJs, and like I'd be doing all these promos with rock stars and stuff. And I'm like, I think I'm more into this than I am into this. But yeah,
that's what I'm getting into this for, not what you're making me do.
Right. So now, Mike, you mentioned that you grew up next to the Gorge. Now, were you able to see a lot of concerts out there, or?
Man, I've seen so many there. I'll never.
That's awesome.
Dude, I saw one of the two best shows I ever saw in my life, Metallica in '97. I'll never forget it. My brother gave me an extra ticket with his buddies, and that was a moment. That was an event. Man, I tell you, that was amazing. But also, I've seen the other side. I saw Bonnie Raitt there.
Yeah,
Bonnie Raitt put on one of the greatest shows I've ever seen.
Goddess.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's like hearing her is like going home. 14th row, Golden Circle, 1997 as well. Def Leppard.
Oh, nice.
Golden Circle seats, baby. That was.
Nice.
That might be right up there with Metallica too. But look, I saw Sting there. Amazing show.
Awesome. Yeah.
I could go on.
But, I bet. I could talk about music forever. But
yeah, that's kind of part of my notes. I thought that was kind of what it was going to be. This was going to be so I'm ready. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm game.
That's awesome, man. No, yeah, it's just good to see you again, and hopefully we can catch up when I'm down there. So
I signed up
for next
week.
week.
Yeah. So next week.
Yeah, I'm going to be there. Well, when this airs. Yeah. So now there's a couple of, I did look up Ephrata because it is a kind of like a smaller town. And just to give people an idea of how small that place is, when you first left for college, the population there was roughly 6,500 people, which is pretty.
Is it that much? 1994?
6,000 people. That's, I don't know.
6,000 plus, I would say.
Yeah. So that's pretty small. I mean, even the place I came from was like, 75,000, people. Yeah. So, yeah. And that's not a huge town, but so obviously not Seattle.
So that's it was.
Yeah. So
us Auburn.
Now, I'm sure everything that happens in that town, like, right. Like, hey, look at this. This is going on. This is going on. Look at, did you hear about blah, blah, blah. But there was a film that was shot there.
Yes, sir. Yes, it was.
So do you know the film that was shot there?
Oh, absolutely. It's for anyone, me or my friends or anyone who lived there or knew about it at the time, always be a special time. I've got stories from teachers to students who ran into the cast crew. Steven Spielberg bought groceries from my fourth grade teacher at Safeway. Do you know I could go off. If you want me to go, I could go off.
I'm not going anywhere.
The scene where Goodman is out in those cliffs, sitting in a chair, coaching the young buck and watching this guy fly the plane while he's practicing throwing fire retardant at a target. That was out I'm pretty sure that was out in the Palisades, which was about 10, 12 miles northwest of my farm.
That's crazy.
So they that whole Palisades area, the bunch of canyons that was created from the Missoula flood. We used to drive through it all the time on our back way to Wenatchee. And so that's where they filmed that scene. For years, Ephrata Airport took the place of the airport that they used in the movie. That was where films were shot, was Ephrata Airport. And they changed the names on the hangars and all that.
That's cool.
So that was great. The little house that Holly Hunter's character stayed in, that was her house. The house was literally right there, like just down the road from the hangars from the airport. That's stayed awesome. There after filming. It stayed there probably as a tourist attraction for Ephrata locals for a good 15, 20 years.
So did they build it just for that movie, or is that, oh wow, that's so cool? So
specifically for that movie, and they kept it there. Ephrata never, bulldozed it down. In fact, the bulldozer itself in the movie, the bulldozer that ran into the house, it still holds up. It's a really good movie.
That's awesome.
The bulldozer or whatever the implement that ran into the house in the movie, it was still there all those years later before
that's crazy.
So that's a lot of good memories from that movie because, and that was the first movie that premiered at our local movie theater in town.
Oh, wow.
Because the theater had closed up 5, 6, 7, 10 years before. And they decided to reopen the movie theater. And Always was the first movie that they premiered. So it was a big moment for a few people.
I bet. It's probably like a convoy coming in town, just taking over that half of that town, right? I mean, I bet that was just a huge deal.
Honestly, it was the opposite. It was opposite from what.
Oh, really? Was it very
Well, yeah. I mean, true. I was out on my wheat farm most of the time, but whenever I went into town that summer, whenever they were filming, everything must have been, up on the plateau where the airport is, out of town.
Gotcha.
The Ephrata Airport is about a couple 3 miles east of Ephrata. So probably all their, trailers and stuff is out by the airport.
Wow. Gotcha. Yeah. And that's actually Audrey Hepburn's last movie I read. Yeah, I think that.
Yeah. That was the dream sequences, right?
Yeah. Pretty
well.
Can
you tell I'm a movie fan? You know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's also a couple of notable people from your town that is just fascinating because there's not a lot to read about.
Because I'm searching right now.
But there is one character who is from there, and his name was Robert Kenneth Preston. Do you know who that is?
Robert Preston.
I don't expect you to know who this is, by the way.
No.
This guy, this is not a good representation of the town here, but he's known for the 1974 House helicopter incident where he was a United States Army private in 1974, and he stole a Huey helicopter from Tipton Field, Maryland, and landed it on the lawn of the White House.
The bizarre chase came to an end when the stolen helicopter landed or was forced down on the south lawn of the White House. Maryland State Police say the young pilot had to be forcibly subdued. For the next several hours, the aircraft was thoroughly examined by police, federal officials, and Army mechanics. They determined that despite the buckshot fired by Executive Protection Service, it could be flown away. It had been stolen around midnight from an Army transportation squadron at nearby Fort Meade, Maryland. During the joyride over the suburban countryside, the craft was reportedly flown with considerable skill. The police pilot who gave chase told of his concern about what the pilot of the helicopter would do next.
I sincerely believe that if his attitude was to crash into the White House, he could have accomplished it without any problem.
Do you think it was, though? Do you think his attitude was to crash into the White House? From what you saw?
I really do.
The joyriding pilot was identified as 20-year-old PFC Robert Preston, an Army helicopter mechanic who was reportedly unhappy over flunking out of flight school. He was charged with unlawful entry into the White House grounds. His day ended in the psychiatric ward of Walter Reed Army Medical Center.
He was sentenced to 1 year in prison, and he served 6 months of that and a fine of $2,400. So that guy is from Ephrata.
That's completely insane because I've read about that incident a number of times in my life.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Interesting.
That guy's from Ephrata. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Very ignominious.
Yeah, there's also a famous radio broadcaster who's from Ephrata. He didn't stick around too long, kind of like Barbre over here, but he is Bobby Rich, who is a radio broadcaster, programmer, manager, best known for his roles as program director and morning show host on KFMB in San Diego back in the 70s and 80s, and then KMXZ in Tucson, Arizona, from 93 to 2017. So he had quite the career.
Nothing unusual going on here today. We do have the famous chicken. Is in town. Making his first official appearance of the season, I believe, for our San Diego Padres, Tucson Padres game on Friday night, which is 94.9 Mix FM night and K-Gun 9 night as well.
Yes.
Finally, after all these years,
yes.
All right, man, here we go. It's okay. I've been wanting to do this. I've been wanting to do this for years and years and years. How bad? And he's down.
So that's pretty good stuff right there.
So he was just a normal radio DJ, not sports.
I think he is, yeah. I think he's just
that's a
normal radio. It's a great career, though, man. That spans several decades. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great, though.
And then the last guy here, he's more of a recent guy, right? I left this one for last because there's a possibility you know this person, Shane Johnson. Are you aware of a Shane Johnson?
Shane graduated '94 with us.
There you go, right there.
Yes, we are all very proud of Shane.
That's awesome.
Guy, he always did amazing productions in theater. And to see him, I can't even tell you how excited my cousin Angela and I were when Angela and I just happened to go to Central. And then we went down to see Saving Private Ryan.
That's awesome.
At the Grand Cinema in 98. And I did not expect to see Shane at the beginning of the movie. And because his face is right up front. And his line was, wild. "What are we going to do now, sir?"
What the hell do we do now, sir?
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
And then it's been great stuff. Oh, just amazing stuff afterward.
Yeah.
He's in the crime.
He's been, so I'll help you out here. So he's been in CSI Miami, Cold Case, Criminal Minds. He's appeared in Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah.
Underrated show. And then, he was also in Behind Enemy Lines.
Yes. And he's been a regular in Power for many years.
He has a good list of credits going there for him.
He's an amazing actor. And we just, all of us are very, very proud of him.
That's awesome.
I think he's by far the most popular person come out of Ephrata. So
super cool. Cool.
Really proud of him.
Now, you, as you mentioned before, with that, I didn't even say anything. I didn't even probe anything. You're wearing the shirt. You're a diehard Seahawks fan. So
we all are, baby. We all are. You know that.
That's probably one of the things that you and I bonded, obviously, over hugely over the years. Now, were you able to living over, because you're like a couple hours away from the
2.5 from Seattle?
Yeah. So were you able to go into any games as a kid?
Man, not until November 22nd, 1987.
Oh,
it was the last game. It was the last game Dan Fouts ever played in the Kingdom.
Wow.
It was Dan Fouts' last game in the Kingdom of his final season. And we beat him 24-3. And my dad got the four of us 4 tickets right on the bottom level, right behind the Seahawks bench. So to say we saw the game, you remember the old Kingdom. They didn't have those elevated seats so you could see over the bench. So
Right.
you're right at about player height,
Yeah.
but it didn't matter to me. There's an amazing introduction to Seahawks football in person because right before halftime, Kurt Warner, my buddy,
There you go.
Kurt Warner comes down, sits on the bench right in front of us, which at the Kingdome means 25 yards away.
Yeah.
So, but he came right in front of me, and then John L. Williams, the rookie at that time, came down right next to him. And I'm not much of a, hey, look at me, but I have been idolizing this guy for how many years now? 5 years at that point.
And you're like 11.
Yeah, I was.
That's when you're supposed to be like that.
12. I had turned 12 earlier that. So, but I just said I'm going to do it. I remember telling my mom, I'm going to do it. I go, Kurt, hey, Kurt, and he turned around and said hello, and I was on cloud 9. It's
like the old Steelers commercial. The
Joe Green. That's right. Except
he kid.
What was it? A Coke with him, Pepsi with him. He didn't have a Pepsi on him, but I didn't need one. Kurt Warner saw me, waved at me, and that's all I needed.
That's awesome. So Kurt Warner, definitely your favorite player back in the day. I mean, not that anybody could hate Steve Largent. I mean, come on, like Steve is amazing.
He's part of the reason why I became a Seahawks fan. So
Exactly. Now, one thing that I am jealous of you is you didn't have to experience all the great blackouts of the 80s and 90s living where you were.
There were a few.
Outside of the blackout area.
There were a few.
Oh, really? They had blackouts where you were?
Yeah.
What? I thought there was a radius.
So there's nothing to be jealous of. There were plenty of times where I would be not screaming, because I never screamed at my parents, but that's not true either. I would, when we're at church, I'd be egging my parents to just get in the car. Get in the car. Hawks game starts in a half an hour.
That's hilarious.
Or coffee hour at church went a little longer than we wanted, and we have to go. We have to go.
That's funny, man.
And even when I was younger, we would have we'd have church at 10 a.m. and Sunday school before that. Well, guess what? On road games,
Ooh,
I'd miss a lot of those games.
Yeah.
Sunday.
And then in the 90s, the dark 90s for Seattle football. Not everything. I always have this conversation. People are like, "Yeah, 90s in Seattle." I'm like, except for Seahawks football. Everything else was awesome. Like everything else was amazing, but not Seahawks football. Yeah, because I wish some of those games were blacked out.
The 90s were such an amalgam of differing perspectives on a lot of things. And for me, this is pretty controversial. This might be controversial for Seahawks fans, but it was really a weird time for me because there were several things we were really good at as a team, as an organization. We had one of the top 2, 3, 4 runners in the NFL, much less the AFC, with number one, Eric Fenner in 89 through 91. And then we had Chris Warren from 92 to 97.
My old buddy Chris Warren.
He had the rushing game to back it up. We're one of the league leading rushers or organizations in running the ball.
Right.
Then we have the defense. We had a pretty stellar defense in a lot of those 90s years. So you put two things together, I don't think we were as bad an organization as we historically are being looked at. What we were missing was leadership at the quarterback position. Look at the guys that we had to go through. We took a World League champion quarterback and Stan Gelbaugh,
Oh, yeah, Stan the Man Gelba.
The best I can say about him, to his credit, is he pulled off that completely impossible Monday night game against the Broncos in '92. That was an amazing game.
He had a good arm, man. That guy had a good arm. Yeah.
But he didn't have anything else.
Yeah, no.
But who else do we have at quarterback in the '90s? So that's where we really buried the program.
I did a whole segment special on the '90s quarterbacks in Seattle called the C-Duds. The C-Duds. And and we went through all of them, man. It was like crazy. I was like, how many are there on that list? It's crazy. Jeez. Yeah.
I really admired McGuire's arm when the day we heard drafting him, but truthfully, I was wondering how he was going to get out of that pocket when he would get flushed out.
He's a huge monster of a dude.
He's 10 times the tree stump that Tom Brady ever was. Tom wasn't known for scrambling. He could when he needed to. Yeah. But this guy, this Dan McGuire,
tree stump.
To this day, I don't understand where we got him.
Yeah, no, yeah. And then don't forget we had some good receivers too. We had Brian Blades. We had Joey Galloway.
Tommy Kane, Brian Blades. It still drives me nuts to this day that we gave up on Galloway. He was a guy you could build an offense around. He was that kind of player. You saw the catches he was making. You saw how completely separable he made himself from.
Oh, he was insane. He was crazy.
He had the routes. He had the speed.
That's kind of like now. That's kind of like now. I'm like, okay, don't let the one person leave from our team right now.
Yeah.
Don't let Metcalf go. Don't let him go right now.
We paid for him.
Yeah.
And we just need a guy to get him the ball.
Yeah. Yep.
That's one of my notes was, I don't know, man, who you want.
Oh, you mean as the quarterbacks now? Who's I don't know.
Who's your guy?
You know I'm gonna have to watch the preseason. I don't know. I'm actually going to be going to one of the preseason games versus the Bears, so I'll be there.
I think we've seen more than we need to with Geno. I'm just not. I know he's a great locker room guy.
He's a backup quarterback in the NFL.
He's a career backup. We know that. We've known that when we got him. You know, he had some success with the Jets early on, but we've seen what we need to know about Geno.
Right. When Russell Wilson went down last year, was that early last year or whatever? Yeah. I was like, and people were like, yeah, I'm excited to see that. Like, and I go, oh, no. Don't get excited. Then he played that one like good game. And I'm like, guys, that's one game here. Let's
no pun intended. No pun intended for the Jets. But and I was willing to give him a shot. Because, you can learn a lot behind Russell. Geno is not immobile. He's not Dan McGuire. I just didn't know about his arm anymore. You knew his locker room qualities. He's a great locker room guy.
Sure, yeah.
You need to be out on the field. And what I saw from early to the middle half of the season, he's a career backup. And
he could talk the talk, but can he walk the walk?
He never even talked. He's a guy we've seen the best from. And if somebody needs him as a backup, like we will need a backup. He's our guy. But I think Drew really got a short shrift in Denver. Am I saying he's the answer to this organization? Not necessarily. But when they had their pieces together, when they were healthy, look what Drew did in Denver. He was not crappy. He made his throws. We know he's got mobility. We know he's got a cannon. It's just about executing now with the new organization, with a philosophy that this is the best part, is that we're not asking him to carry the offense like Russell did. We're asking him to make the handoffs when he needs to make them, make the third down throw when we need him to. And if it comes down to moving the ball, putting the chains one after the other, we might have to ask him to do that if things are breaking down. So I want to see what he can do. He's a young guy. He's got all the motivation to be as good as he can be with a new organization that's building a new identity. I think this is a perfect fit for Drew. Now it's up to him to perform.
Yeah. Now, there's two things here. You know who else had a great arm? Jeff George. Jeff George had a great arm. Didn't have a great head, but had a great arm.
There were several reasons why he wasn't successful. One of them was that he was an asshole.
Yeah. Oh, Ryan Leaf.
He couldn't get along with anybody.
Yeah.
And when you can't get along with anybody in the NFL, you're not going to gain the trust of your player, your fellow teammates, your coaches, anyone and everyone you alienate. You're not going to be successful. To me, that's the only reason why Jeff George wasn't successful in this league, or as successful.
Talented, yeah.
Because he was a talented, smart guy. Who was a jerk.
Yep. And then you mentioned the Jets. Now that brings me to my next little piece here. One of the most memorable games that I've ever gone to, which didn't really have anything to do with the game, was the Jets game. Yep. That was pure insanity. Do you remember getting to that game?
Really insane. Yes.
It was like a blizzard.
And I actually remember parking my car, my 1991 Hyundai Scoop, in a parking space and literally walking away not knowing if I was going to be able to get out of said space. Do you remember me saying I might have to leave? I might have to leave like early in the third quarter because I don't think I'm going to get my car out. But
so just explain to people what the heck we're talking about. What was this, like 2008, 2007 or something? Okay, 2008. So this is nuts. So in Seattle, it's not like where it snows everywhere else pretty much. In Seattle, there's hills everywhere. People can't drive. People can't drive in snow anyways, but you add that to big giant hills all over the place, the entire city shuts down. So there was a huge snowstorm like right before the game. And then basically if you did not have 4-wheel drive and you're up on a hill somewhere, you are not going to the game. You're not going to the game. So the only people that can go to the game are semi close to the stadium, or they can walk to the stadium, and I remember we get there, and I don't know. I mean, I think we had one of our buddies, Glenn. He drove us there in his 4x. He picked us up. He's like, "Oh, well, good. I'll drive you guys." Yeah. So we get to the game, and not only the lines were down the road. They were down the road to get in. Nobody's tailgating because there's nobody to tailgate. But the lines were down the road. Security couldn't even get to the game. We're waiting in line. The game has already started, and we're sitting there going, "How is this? Are we going to even get in for the game? Or are we going to even see like the first half? I don't even know." So, do you remember like people just started literally like they bulldozed over? I don't know if it was the fence or what. They just started flooding in. Everybody just started going in. I was like, man, if you could have gotten down there, you could have gone to the game because there was no security.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
It was insane.
To the stadium, right? North end of the stadium where all the turnstiles are. With crowds like that, turnstiles ain't going to stop anyone. It was just complete. I forgot all about that.
It was insane. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I was like, wow. But even if even if someone got on their phone and said, "Hey man, you should come down here," like literally, like they would never be able to get here for the game.
Yeah. What was the entire crush? What was the entire crush for that game? It was Jets. No.
Yeah, because that was Brett Favre, right? His first retirement comeback or whatever.
His first one. But yeah, Brett Favre was in Seattle with the Jets for the first time, and nobody knew if he was going to be back, so everyone showed up to that game. Yeah. And it just started snowing like Wisconsin in January, and it was completely insane. I barely got my car out of its parking space.
God.
Made it home, and it was just. I still had that photo that we took.
Yeah,
still shows up on my Facebook timeline. And that's also the game where everyone was throwing snowballs at Brett Favre, or
that sounds about right.
Yeah, and Holmgren came down on the entire crowd, grabbed a mic, dressed everyone down for throwing snowballs.
I love when coaches go off. It's so funny, man. Like,
yeah. It's a lot easier to do that in basketball too. If someone's or crowd's misbehaving on a
you just point them out.
Like Krzyzewski or Dean Smith would go up and say, "You're better than that," which
right. Makes you feel bad. Yeah. So, I know that you got to get going here pretty soon. So I wanted to do kind of something different here. I wanted to end the show with kind of like a speed round of random questions. And you kind of just look, they don't have to be super like just, blah, blah, blah. It's not a game show, but like, because these are actual,
about it.
These are your opinions. So like, there's no right or wrong answers here. So I just kind of put this together, just some, like I said, random questions, kind of like, what's his name does on that Tonight Show. Anyway, so, all right. So I'm just gonna start throwing them out here. Some of these you might have already answered. So
let's do it.
All right. So Mike Barbre, who is your favorite band, group, or artist?
U2.
U2. Okay. What's the best concert you've ever attended?
Tough to say. It's a break between U2 at CenturyLink Field and Metallica at 97.
Nice. When did you see the U2 show? I knew that they used to put on these mammoth shows.
Oh, that was it. That was U2 in 2012.
Oh, okay.
U2 in 2012 at what was then Quest Field.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Right on. Okay. Now, did you collect sports cards?
Yes.
Okay. What was did you collect baseball, football, basketball, or all of the above?
Football only at the time. I've got 4 thick 3-ring binders of football cards from 87, 88 pro set through 94 when it became too expensive to do cards anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your most valuable card?
Oh, I've got 2 Dan Marino rookies.
Nice.
I think I might have. I don't know if I have I don't have a Jerry Rice, but a Merlin Olsen rookie.
Wow.
He was back. Yeah, those nice. 2 come to mind. But I've got a couple more that I've just forgot about.
Fantastic. All right. Okay. So what's the most memorable vacation that you've ever taken?
Oh, Europe, 94.
Oh, Europe. Where'd you go in Europe? Did you do the whole Europe bouncing around everywhere or what?
That was almost the gift in the missed opportunity, because those kinds of tours were an opportunity for you to kind of get a quick lay of the land. And then when you can go back later to the places you want to go. So we skipped around a lot. Venice left a huge impression on me. I love the history, the mysticism, but Paris was huge. Amsterdam was huge. London was big. The Alps were amazing. I could never pin it down to just one place, but I guess if I had to pick one, it'd be Venice. Venice was
awesome.
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's cool.
I want to go back so bad.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, man. What is the best action movie of all time?
Raiders Lost Ark. I will not accept any other alternative.
I love it.
It is. I've said it for years. It's the greatest action movie of all time. Not franchise. So I put that with the Bond movies, but the single greatest action movie of all time is Raiders. It's got everything.
I'll take it. Yeah. What is your favorite Seahawks moment besides Super Bowl 48?
Or besides Super Bowl, kicking the Niners' ass earlier that year. It was the second game was, I don't know if that can be the greatest, but it's the first one that came up. That going into that game when the season was nearing its nadir, its penultimate moment, we had to beat the Niners at that point. And what we did, I'll never forget it, because I was down at the Hawks Nest right across Occidental from the stadium, and it was shoulder to shoulder. packed. I've never been so packed in my life. And I was hugging people I had never said a word to in my life. It was that kind of deal. It was with every huge play, just everything. And that wasn't even the tip game. It wasn't even the NFC title game. It was the game before that.
Right.
December.
Yeah.
Was it December?
Yeah, that game was
December.
Was that the one where Chancellor almost knocked his head off?
Yes. Vernon. Vernon Davis. But it was actually executing on what we needed to do to get to that next point, to cement our place, and to whoop the Niners' ass like that was. Yeah, at that moment in time, you're like, dude, we're gone. Yeah, that's it. We are the best team in the league, and we're favored to win the Super Bowl. We just have to do it. But look, man, Miami in 1984, that was huge. The Raiders in '88, the last game of the regular season, winner takes all, and we beat Shell and the Raiders that year. Mm-hmm. That was, those two games were huge. 90s, not as much. There's that Bronco game in '92. I've never been so proud of a bunch of underachievers in my life. That's true. Oh, God, Beastquake, bro.
Beastquake. Look, I'm not making you pick between all your children here. I'm just, I know. Like I said, we could do a whole episode about the Seahawks, which we probably
honestly, will. Bro, I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to go Beastquake. The only reason is because, look, man, we were a bunch of underachieving schmucks at that point. The Holmgren years were behind us. Mm-hmm. We were trying. We didn't even know who we were anymore, because we're a bunch of guys from different eras coming together just to finish out a freaking year, a rough year, and then we have a chance. We actually get in the back door and find we have a shot at actually making the playoffs. And so with this new undisciplined running back out of Buffalo, talented but just really kind of a problem maker.
We had no right being in that game.
It was hilarious. No right being in any position. And then we actually, a bunch of scrubs came together for one day and made a miracle happen. And I've never been so proud of those guys for bucking up and doing what it took to beat an incredible team.
Yeah, so it was awesome. It was awesome.
That day's tough to beat.
All right, just following up on the rounding up the football stuff here. Favorite NFL player who wasn't a Seahawk?
Oh my God, that's out of all of history. Man, I tell you what, I love.
Not to you, not who's the greatest of all time.
No, but right now, they kind of merge for me, because I think Walter Payton, as great as he was, you put him on the Cowboys, you put him on the 49ers of the 80s, you put him on any other team that actually knew how to build around somebody, he'd have had
sweetness,
thousands more yards than he ended up having.
He's amazing.
I give Barry Sanders all the due. I don't think we've ever seen a guy like him the way he did. But Walter Payton had everything you ever wanted in a running back.
Barry Sanders had those legs that were like this, but did anybody run harder than Sweetness?
I don't know, man.
He ran so hard and he wasn't like a huge guy. He was like
5'10", bro. He was 5'10" and a half. What, $195, 280?
And you always tell those coaches, what do the coaches always say? They're like, keep your legs running. Just play some highlight videos of Walter Payton, and that's how you should run, especially if you're, undersized, and you don't have the gift like some of these monsters today,
He played twice his size.
Yeah.
He played twice his size. He had the heart. He had the skills. He had the eyes. To see holes. I wouldn't say he had Barry's mobility, but he wasn't too far away. He had Marshawn's vision. He had fast twitch muscle fibers for anyone, and he had the heart and the destruction mindset with an Earl Campbell. He had everything he was a compendium of everything you ever wanted in a running back.
Yeah.
He could catch the ball out of backfield like Roger Craig. And he handled everything so well. He was the anti Deion Sanders. He was a humble guy who was always more my style than
quiet. He's even quiet, like sounding. He's like, hey, like.
Yeah.
It's
funny. He and Mike Tyson, for their sport, they were the softest talkers, but they hit the hardest.
Yeah, right. Okay. How about this next one here? What's the last movie that you saw in the theater?
Oh man, I saw one movie after Thor, but I can't remember what it was. I saw the last Thor movie, Love and Thunder.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. And what's your favorite go-to appetizer?
Do wings count as appetizers?
Yes, of course they do. And I knew. I was like, he's got to say wings. He's got to say wings.
You knew it.
Going to Dantes and Dantes, it was Dantes, right?
Dantes, man, it broke my heart.
Still there?
They shut down. They shut down.
It burned down, right? It like a big fire, and it sucks, man.
Did it burn down? Awesome. And they just didn't open it again, or did it? I thought they opened it up again, but COVID took it out.
Oh man, come on! We need to do a GoFundMe page for this. Bring
those nights at Dantes, man, I'll never forget. Those are so.
It was nuts because you go in and when we started going there, it was $2 pitchers. $2. And I'm like, $2 for pitchers. We'd have and it ended. It was like 8 to 10. So we'd go in there. We would just literally go back and just keep buying pitchers. And we had these tables. We had a table I have this picture. We had this table full of just pitchers, and they didn't care. We were like, hey, we'll sell them to you if you want to drink them warm like that. We're like, we don't give a shit. We just got out of college. We're used to this shit. We don't care.
We have all the
it was awesome.
Here's me off in the corner table eating all my wings.
Yeah, right. And we're like, where's there? Oh, yep. He said Mike can't sit at this table because the beer is at this table. So Mike has to go over to that table and eat. And then he'll come join us. Yeah.
Like a freaking man.
Okay. Is Michael Jordan the greatest basketball player of all time?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That was an easy one. Okay.
It's offensive to even hear it.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
People who don't zipper in traffic.
Ooh, I had a traffic one too. Yeah. I hate when people when I'm driving and someone stops to turn into literally stops and then turn. And I was like,
oh, it turns into a parking lot?
Yeah, just anywhere. I'm like, okay, now I got to slam on my brakes, and the person back of me hates me. And okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of traffic ones, but
yeah. I could go on.
Okay, Mike, what is your favorite cartoon of all time?
Oh man, Looney Tunes is tough to beat. Looney Tunes and I go back all the way. We're talking 6 a.m. on a Saturday after a long week.
Yeah.
Here I am, plopped at 6 a.m. Watching Looney Tunes. So, yeah.
Not bad. Not bad.
That came up first. I could list a bunch, but
yeah, that's good. You can't go wrong with that one. Okay, if you had to choose, what is your favorite candy bar or go-to sweet? Like if you were at a gas station, what do you?
Musketeers.
Three Musketeers. Boom, that was easy. It's like wings.
Maybe
wings.
Yeah, but yeah.
Right on. Okay. Some more of these here. Name 2 songs that remind you of college. I'm sure there's a million, but name 2 songs.
I can tell you. I can't remember what song it was. You could probably tell me, but that party we went to across the street from Anchor M, I'll always remember Any Music by No Doubt.
Oh, No Doubt was classic. Yeah, they're right in that era, man.
You remember that? You remember that party we went to that one night? It's right across from Anchor M. Some gal's apartment, I think, or one of your buddies. One of your buddies.
Gosh, I don't know. There's so many of these drunken parties.
Hey man, anyone who sees this video, anyone who sees this
comment.
podcast,
let's not hear.
Comment and tell me what it was your apartment.
So No Doubt is a big one. Anybody else?
No Doubt. Dude, specific songs. Oh, this is how we do it. Is that at the Mitch?
Montel Jordan?
Yeah. Is that Montel Jordan?
Is it Montel Jordan? This is how we do it. It's Friday. Yeah, I think so. Isn't that Montel? I think that's Montel. Yeah. Nice. Good stuff there.
Like 10 times a night.
Party songs. Yeah. This is how we do it. So it's Friday. You have to play it on Friday night, right? It's Friday night.
I'm going to save your listeners.
Okay. What is this one? I don't know. I mean, I have lots of these. You may not, because you're a lot cooler than I am. But what is the most awkward first date that you've ever been on?
Oh, easy. My buddy set me up on a date in 2004 with a Wiccan.
Oh, wow.
Now, look.
Interesting.
I'm not hating on any of the Wiccans in your audience, Josh.
Sure, a massive following.
I was happy to learn about the Wiccan religion or faith or whatever. But my buddy never told me.
There you go.
And if I'd have known, then I wouldn't have gone on the date.
There you go.
She was a trip.
She's into,
she was
different kinds of things than you are. You're into sports and having a beer once in a while. Yeah,
she gave me an education though. Gave me an education about the Wiccan religion, what it's all about. I don't even know if I should call it a religion. I don't think they'd call it a religion, but yeah,
that's funny. Man. Well, okay. So what is your favorite superhero movie of all time?
Oh my God. Oh, now this is where I'm really into. Favorite or which one's the best? When Batman came out in 1989, it was absolutely an entire game changer. Superman had come out 11 years earlier, and he made people believe a man can fly.
Yeah.
But Batman was... It
was just so cool,
it was such a cool...
Dark and... Yeah.
Burton knew what he was doing. I'll never forget the furor that Michael Keaton being cast as Batman caused.
Right. Yeah.
I was one of those people, and I've never been more happy to be wrong.
Mr. Mom is Batman?
Yeah. Mr. Mom is Batman. And
that's awesome. That is awesome.
He ended up being great. Yeah. And then Batman Returns, but
I mean, since if you go in the last 15, 20 years, there's like a 10 million superhero movies. So it's that one really stands out, right? I mean, that first Batman movie is
first Batman movie changed a lot because I think it proved that comic book movies truly did work. Superman, the movie, was not a one-off lucky once in a million shot. Richard Donner, the great director. Christopher Reeve is, in my opinion, still the greatest Superman there's ever been.
Yeah.
Love Henry Cavill, but Superman's the man. But I think Batman 89 shut the door on any question that comic book movies could work. Because after that, look how many made-for-TV movies on superheroes came out after that. Even Billy Zane's Phantom came out in 96, 97, and that wasn't that bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. But
the list goes on and on and on.
I need to go with that.
Yeah, it really does. What is okay? What is the dumbest thing that you've ever done while drunk?
Man, you're gonna get my head on this.
Oh no, you don't have to. Hey, look, you can not answer this. You can plead the fifth. You're like,
No way. I'm answering it.
That's so great.
On this because most of my life I've been able to just go to the beach and so what?
You were never really like the.
I can answer it.
So me and some of my friends, we were the more dumb ones than you. You were kind of like the guy sitting back, kind of like laughing at us doing dumb stuff. Which I'm.
You guys made it fun though. You guys were really bad. No, probably the dumbest, most embarrassing thing I had done drunk was my buddy Bergam, my buddy Jim, invited me to a house party in like 04, 03, 04, and up in North Seattle, probably up on 85th somewhere. And the owner of the house, she was so amazing. She was so amazing, so cool. She said, have whatever you want. This place was packed with people.
Yeah.
Packed with people. And that's what kind of made it fun, because every surface in the kitchen, you couldn't sit anywhere. You couldn't put a cup anywhere because it was full of alcohol. It was full of hard licks. So I go up to, I already had one or two, and I go up to the table, and these two cute girls are standing right there gathering drinks. And I try to be Mr. Cool and everything and Mr. Funny. I grab whatever vodka it was, packed my red cup, like 3/4 full of vodka.
Oh no.
Orange juice.
Just a splash of orange juice.
Just a splash of orange juice, and trying to be funny. And they laughed a little, but they saw how much I was pouring in there. So 3 of those later.
Oh.
Yeah, bad things happen. I just deposited it all on the side of the house, along the side of the house, and I just had my hand. I completely ruined the rest of the night until about 4 o'clock in the morning, just sitting on the bench outside,
just like a zombie,
just a zombie, and everybody's walking around me, and that's stuck in my head ever since. So
like, that's it.
You never want
just a couple of drinks, and I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm kind of there too. As far as like, if I have a drink, I'll measure it. I will literally measure it like they do at the bar, and people are like, "What are you doing?" And I go, "Trust me, I've been drinking long enough where I should know better." So yeah, I hear you there. Okay.
It was a big moment to remember for future encounters and fun time. Have your fun, but don't fill your cup 3/4 full of vodka and then a little bit of orange.
I always tell people too, I go, listen, unless you're Andre the Giant, alcohol is always going to win. Always.
Yes.
So there you go. All right.
Andre.
Okay. What is your favorite video game of all time?
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Oh, can you get past Glass Joe?
Oh yeah. I can't remember what I got up to, but that was Glass was pretty easy.
I remember I got really excited when someone taught me how to beat Tyson. Actually, the first one I got excited about was the big bald hippo guy. Yeah. I couldn't get past it for a long time.
It was a victory to get past that guy. I don't know if I made it much further than that. What guy was he? Like the fifth dude?
I don't even know. I can't even remember. I'm surprised I even remember that.
I got pretty far.
Yeah.
I didn't get. Don't you need a code or something to get past?
Once you learn, there's tricks. Once you learn. I think there was a code actually to bump yourself up, but like there's certain tricks to beat certain guys. And when I figured that out, I was like, oh man, I wish I would have known this a long time ago. So I could have been cool with all my friends, but I'm not. So there you go. Okay, just a couple more here, Mike. Couple more. What TV character do you most identify with?
Impossible.
It's ridiculous, I know. But like, if you were watching TV growing up, you're like, you know what? I'm a lot like him. I'm a lot like that guy right there. He's like, nobody.
I want to say Jack Tripper.
Oh, I love it.
That's not true. That's completely true. I wish I was.
Oh, Jenna loved that answer. She loves that.
Oh man,
Jack Tripper. I love Jack Tripper.
There are so many shows running into your head.
How about Larry from Three's Company?
Literally the opposite of Larry.
Yes.
Literally the opposite.
Furley? Mr. Roper? That's so great.
No, I don't know, probably.
Okay. Well, okay.
Let's go with the guy from The Shield. He's
The Shield.
bald.
Oh, The Shield. I love that guy. What was that guy's name? Not the commish.
No, the head guy, the bald dude.
Yeah, that guy's cool. Okay, we'll go with that one. Okay, and then the last question that I have listed on here: what is your all-time favorite cereal?
Yes. Oh, so many.
I know. And if you wanted to go like maybe as you were a little kid and then as like a young adult, I'll take that.
Oh man, gotta go with Fruit Loops, bro.
Boom, Fruit Loops it is.
So it was like opening up heaven. It opened up that.
I'm like, oh, this is amazing smelling. Oh, this is ridiculous.
Fruity Pebbles is up there.
Yeah,
Fruity Pebbles is up there. But yeah,
it's like pure candy. That's good stuff.
ET cereal back in the day. You remember those?
Good. Yeah, I remember all those. Mr. T, Smurfberry Crunch. Absolutely.
Great.
All right, we're gonna leave it at that, Mike. Definitely gonna have you come back on, but that was fun. I think that was good.
College buddy, this was awesome.
Yes, absolutely. And I didn't know that you were that close to Spuds.
Yeah,
maybe let's make a trip out there.
That's right. If you remember Spuds, man, I'm literally halfway down the block on 60th.
That's awesome. That's easy to find. Just go to Spuds Park. Find a parking spot. Just walk to your house. Yeah.
Text me when you park, and I'm there.
Fantastic. I'll let you know. All right, dude. Well, it's good talking to you, man.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, for Mike Barbre, I'm Josh, and as always, thank you for being a friend. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.